Hello, welcome to the next episode of the amazing asset browser that we're making. And today we're gonna start doing a little bit more things in the asset browser. They are gonna make it a little bit functional now. We're gonna have the opportunity to download as we did, but also just apply the assets to the actual lights. For example, here I have the finished version for this episode. You can see I also have categories here on the left side, which are not functional yet. I also have some title here, a search bar is going to be functional later. Some other drop downs here, again, not functional yet, but they will be later. The main thing here is that now if you select the light here, and I delete this light, whatever is there, just delete this other one. Well, let me just hide them or something there. If I select this light and click one of these guys, you can see it's applied there. So it is now working as doing that. And if I click another one, and you can see also that is doing it pretty fast, because the script is also checking if this file is already being downloaded. And if it is, it just assigns the file really quickly instead of downloading it. You can see there's no downloading activity here at the bottom. Most of them I already download, but if I click maybe this one, yeah, you can see that one got downloaded and attached. Sometimes the B port doesn't refresh. That's a Houdini issue, but it is assigned. If I click on it again, or maybe another one, you can see now this has been assigned, but it's like a Houdini glitch that we could try to fix later. Not sure if that's even possible. And then, but you can see I have another. Let me hide this one. Another type of light here, which is an actual redshift light. And if I click one of these guys, you can see it applies the same thing. I have an Arnold environment light here. And let me enable it. If I click on this, it's assigned here. You can see Arnold even changes the type here the script or changes the properties here that we need to assign that. So we're gonna do that today. So for now, we're just gonna support this renderers, but you can add other renders if you need to, or just add anything else you like, or just suggest, and we can add it if I have the renderer or there's a demo available for it. But it's going to be pretty simple to apply. Really, it's not that hard. So this is going to be what we're going to do today. So let's get started with that. Let me go back to the state that we left last episode here. So let me remove my development branch, I'm calling it. So now if I do that, this is where we left off. Okay. So, first thing is, maybe just going to look into the interface. So I modified the interface a little bit. You can see, let me go and open the other one. This is the previous one that I had. I can show you a little bit of what I did. I'm not going to show the whole thing. It's very simple, just grouping, widgets. But the part that I want to show you is the splitter, which is this part here. Doesn't show here, but you can see that it's you can split this, move it around. So that is pretty cool. I can add, like, let's say a push button there just so we can see how this works. See, there is a little divider here for the two sections, and I like that you can actually collapse this. If you push it far enough, you can collapse that, and if you want, you can open it again. Just clicking on the little thing, you can open it again. You can do it to both sides. You can collapse any side. I really like this splitter for that reason. If you don't want to see a section, you can just stow it away, and that's pretty cool. So, right. So how do we do that? Well, what I did here in the interface that we had, I just designed basically the interface that I wanted. I mean, I didn't design it. Don't thing that I just was like, oh man, I'm gonna design the whole thing. So first I'm gonna break this layout so I can add more stuff to this. Because I have this vertical layout here, which I still have on this side. This vertical layout here, is what became, what we have here right now. You can see there's the little progress bar there, still there. So what I did, I just created a few layout parts here. You can see I have, horizontal layout here at the top. Everything is inside this vertical layout. Even the splitter, which is here. And to create the splitter, you can see here, let me see. I have the splitter. It's just two vertical layouts here. So I could do another vertical layout here. You can create, you can design your interface whatever way you want it. In my case, I just want something, like this. And we might change it later when we polish the interface and stuff. But for now, I need something to work with. So I have two vertical layouts. I can just select them like that, and then just say, just select everything and click on top of one of them and say horizontal splitter, or you can do a vertical splitter if you want to. In my case, I'm going to do a horizontal, which means the splitter is going to be crossing the horizontal, right? That's what it means. So now we have this, but to make it again fill the whole thing, you just go layout and layout on a grid, and then we have the layout like this, right? We have the splitter there. In Houdini, you can see the actual line. I'm not sure exactly why you can't see the splitter line here, but you can see you can have it now split like that. And now that I have this, to add the rest of this, I can just, let me just break the layout again. I have this splitter. You can see it's here. The splitter is there. And then to add this to the whole thing, I added a vertical layout. Let's just add a button to that. I just add something so I know where these things are gonna fit. For example, here I have this vertical layout and I have an horizontal layout for the top. So I'm gonna have this thing going on the top. So I can actually just add it there right now. Horizontal layout. Add it there. See, the horizontal layout is at the bottom. I can grab this splitter, just grab it from the object inspector here, and you can drag it and add it there. Now let's try adding it to the below the horizontal area. You're gonna have to kind of just be careful with this. You can drag it there, and you can see a blue line below. Like, you can see it's there is on top of the other one. Actually, I inserted it on top of the horizontal. I want this horizontal layout to be on top. I can also just add another one and put it there, and delete the other one. Like I can select it here, delete that one, add the button there. No, get in there. It's difficult to add it sometimes there. Oh, there it is. I think I got it too. But if you can add it to that specific horizontal layout, you can just drag it from here to the widget here on the list as well, and you can see that works. And if we now add like a label here left of the button, and see, I'm doing this basically. So yeah, that is how I did that. I'm gonna leave that to you to do the rest. This thing, to make it just be on the top, I just click this and change the layout stretch to 0, 1. Sorry, 1. And why is it not working? Let's see, what did I do here? I'm pretty sure that was in the vertical. Oh, I need to do it to the vertical layout, sorry. Yes, I need to do it to this guy, which is the parent of that. So 1, there we go. You can see now that's at the top, very small. And I have my interface like this, right? And that's how I built that. So what else did I add it here? Well, I have a vertical layout here, so I added a few things here on that vertical layout. I added, like you can see here, I added this is the layout. I added a label, but I also added a scroll area, and inside that scroll area I added another vertical layout, which is what's called the buttons, and that is so I can actually have a scrolling area that is gonna go that we can scroll if we have a lot of buttons on that area. So that is what I did. If you want to have the same thing as me, you can copy this, stop it, copy this layout here, that actually this one actually, that is the layout that I'm using. This is the names that I'm using. If you are on Patreon, you can download this from the website and you have the Mixed Asset Browser UI version 2, and you can continue with this. I'm just going to continue with this because I don't want to spend too much time doing the layout, and I explain most of this, and it's a good exercise for you to also just do this. If you just want to do a line edit as well here at the top to have that area for searching. I added a spacer there, horizontal spacer there to have like space here between these. This push button is pretty big, but I think that button is pretty big because I modified this stretch thingy. Let me remove those rules. There we go. So now you can see I have that. Oh, did I manage to crash it? Wow. I never saw the signer crash before. That's weird. So yeah, just go ahead and try to rebuild this guy basically. So I can show you again everything I did. You can see the type of objects that I added here, the names that I added, and how they are parented here. And once you have this, we continue with the lesson. Again, if you don't have this, just create your own setup. You can organize this whatever way you want it, or if you just want to follow me exactly, just download the thing from Patreon. All right, so here we're gonna do that, and before we even do that, before we even do anything, I'm just gonna load that anyway, just so we have that. So let me go to my actual code, which is this one. This is the code from last video. So let's go to wherever we are loading this interface, and I'm gonna load version 2. Click this, and there it is, right? So to get this stretch, you can see this is how it works in Houdini. I really love this. I can if you don't want, I don't want to see this side, you can completely stretch it, and I still have that available wherever I want it. Or if I just want to see the categories, also works. You can have these things have more sections as well, if you want. I want this to be like around here all the time. Sorry, I'm just gonna have a small list here, not as wide, but you can see this thing kind of goes like around here, like around the middle basically. You can set how much that stretches. So let's go to the code here, and here in this area I'm gonna get that self, that's gonna be the categories, that's gonna be the splitter. The splitter is gonna be the self.ui that splitter. So that's the splitter, and then I can use the splitter. It's just really simple to set some ratios for those splitter. That set stretch ratios, ratios. So this is gonna be basically the column and then how much ratio. So this is not a specific value number, so it's gonna be one. It's gonna be dependent on what the next ratio is. So let's duplicate this line, and this is gonna be for column 1, which is gonna be this side. Let's say I'm gonna divide that in 3 parts. So this is gonna be 1/3, right? So this is gonna be 1/3 of that. So that's how you basically oh, sorry, that's the stretch factor, not ratios. But I think about that in ratio because that's how I think about it in my mind. So you can see now this is basically 1/3. It's not really 1/3. It's pretty small, big, I don't know. But you can play with this if you wanted to. If I'm explaining this wrong, please forgive me, but that's how I understand it. So I'm gonna give it like that, 1/3 there, and this is gonna be what I have there. Cool. So now, before we even continue, let's make this guy do something. But whenever we click on these buttons, do something. So I'm gonna create a new function for those that we're gonna call. Several things are going to happen, but we're going to create a function for assigning the HDR. So let's go all the way down and then if assign HDR. That's going to be the HDR that we the function that we're going to call. And one thing is, you might think is, well, why don't you just do it here where the thread ends, or here where the thread is completed? Well, that is actually a good point, and we're not doing it there because we're not going to call the download thread every single time. As I mentioned here, before opening this file, we're going to check if the actual file exists. If it does, we're going to basically skip this. So we're not even going to call this function, this download process, if the file exists. So that's why we can use these functions, because if we don't call the process or the thread, these functions are not going to work. So we can use those. That's why we have our own function there. So we're going to start to do some Houdini stuff now. And we're going to have, we're going to get the selected node, what's going to happen here is going to be simple. We're going to get the node that is going to be selected. We're going to have to select the node to apply that, which the process of applying these textures might change later. But for now, we're going to just set, if we click on it, if we click on one of these guys and a light is selected, we're going to assign the light, the texture map here. That's basically what I'm going to do, right? So we need to get the selected node, and I call this cell node for selected node. And this is where we're going to start using some Houdini Python interface, or the home or the who interface. So who dot, there's a selected nodes function here at the top, and you can see that function returns the selected node. Let's see if we get any help here. Oh, it does. It returns a list of the selected nodes. So it is going to return a list. So we're going to have to just get the first one, right? There's no selected node. So instead of getting a list, I'm just going to grab the first value of that. This, again, you can do it however you want. In my case, I just want one. If there's several selected, we can say you have several lights selected. Which one do you want to apply it to? You want to apply it to all, or you can do it if you want, in your case, if you want to apply it to all of the selected lights, it's your pick. For me right now, I'm just going to select one, and that's going to be it for now. So just to make sure this is working, let's print the selected node. Selected node. It's going to be the cell node right there. So we're not calling this function, so we need to call it. We're gonna call it after here when this is done. Assign. Oh, sorry. Self.assign. Assign HDR. So there we go. So this is going to be working here. So if I refresh this, because I'm making that mistake not refreshing this. If I select this slide, you can see this environment map is empty right now. Now we're not assigning it, but if I select that and click on this, it's going to download. And now at the end, it's going to print selected node environment light, right? So that is good. You can see actually the result was after this. So even though the thread starts here, this prints right away and then this finishes after that. So that's interesting, right? So the thread goes to work, this already continues and does all this stuff, and then the thread finishes after, which is good. Two threads are working at the same time. So that's going to be it. So we have the selected node right there, and it's good. So we can actually, let's say, if we don't call this, just comment that right now. We can click on stuff here and just get out of range because we have nothing selected. Select something, environment light. We select this one, RS light down, Arnold light, that. Again, if I select a bunch of them, it's going to give me the first one because that's what I'm telling it to do. If I select the camera, it's going to tell me that's camera one, right? So, but that is working, so that's great. So before we continue, let's make the change of this so we don't keep downloading files. So let's make that happen before we continue. And for this to happen, I'm gonna use the Padlib, which is the pad library in Python 3. So be careful because this pad library is not compatible with Python 2. This is for only Python 3. If you need to write compatible code, go with OS path, which is basically the same kind of thing. We are using it here somewhere, right? I'm using it. I remember here. OS path is very similar, and you can still use this in Python 3, but I like Padlib because it's a little bit simpler. So let's just import, and I tend to like to use the newest kind of shiny thing. So Padlib has a really nice function when you give it a path just to say is file. So if this is file, and just gives you the awareness if the file exists or not. So that's why I want to use that. And also here, where did we do that? Sorry. Right here, this local file, it's a local variable, it's a local variable here. So I want to actually make that an actual variable here, or a member of this class. So I'm gonna put it here, so a property of this class that we can call from everywhere, because we might need that access to that. So let's just rename that self.local file and make sure we also do it here, so we can actually work this. Everything works as expected right now. This line is gonna change, so we want this to be an actual path from Padlib. So what we can do here is just wrap it into path lib, that path. You can see that's the path that we want. And this, you can see subclasses make system calls represent the file system path. So we want to have a file system path here. We're gonna wrap that thing in that function, and that is now a path. This is gonna be good, but it's gonna fail somewhere else. So you can see if we just change that and run this, something's gonna fail when we try to do something. And didn't fail because I'm sure I'm using this. I was using this path somewhere else. Oh, yeah, I know where. But when we try to use this self-local path again, we need to cast it into a string when you want to pass it to Houdini. But that's what I was looking for. But now we can do with this being a path. This being a path, we can just check that if that exists really simply. So we're gonna basically wrap this functionality in that. So it's only going to execute if the file doesn't exist. Check if file exists, if it does skip download, because we don't need to download it, and this is actually a good idea to do. So if self.local file name is, you can see is a file, you can see this is the, you can also say if this is a directory, it's absolute, it's mount. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the file system, which is great. This is gonna be if this is a file, do something, but we want to, if this is not a file, so let's say if not a file, do this. So basically, if this doesn't exist, download it. Else it's just gonna assign it. So that's basically what's gonna happen here. If this is a file, then we just go here and assign it. So if we save and reload, you can see now this should be already downloaded, and you can see there's no download activity here. Yeah, there's no downloads, and I have most of these things are already downloaded. So let's try to find one that isn't. Yeah, that one downloaded. See, the thread was done. So if I click it again, you can see it's not downloading again. It's just printing the name there. So pretty good. That works. All right, so now let's go back to assigning this, and let's go do that part here. Right, so the selected node can have a type. So we can, let me just bring that back. Let me just do this. Print asset type. So this is going to be useful when we want to know which one of these types of light we want to assign it to, because they are different. For example, this one is called, this attribute is called AR light color texture, and this one is called ENB_map. And for Redshift, actually, it's called the same, which is great. ENB map. We can just wrap those two in one call, but this one is different. So we're gonna use the type for later to get the type of the actual node. And to get that is really quick, simple. We already have the selected node. We can call the type. And if I just run that pretty quickly, you can see how it prints the type. That's selected. It prints the type is a who node type for object enb light, and we want this part here enb light. So let's just we can just get that by saying name, and that's gonna give us the name of the object there. You can see as a type enb light. If we click the Redshift one, if I click it, RS Lite version 2, the Arnold one, Arnold Lite. So that is working perfectly. So to assign it, it's gonna be really, really simple. Cell, selected node, parameter. This is how we access a parameter with the parm function here. This parameter, we go here, put a mouse on it, and see what the name of it is. See the second line there says parameter colon enb_map. So we want that exact name. So in quotes, enb_map. And then to set something on that, we can say set, and then we can say hi. This is going to be the value that we set on that parameter. If we call that just to make sure it's working, you can see now it says hi, or we could say hello world, right? That's the actual thing that we should be saying. So here, what do we want to set here? Actually, well, we want to set that local file name, and this is why we made it into a property of the class, so we can actually just call it here, right? If we run it now, refresh this and run it, see we have some error, and this is what I was mentioning. This is a type of Padlib POSIX path, which is not, we can't set it to that, but it basically means that this is it's wrapping to a class. So the only thing we need to do here, just make this path into a string here to make it settable for Houdini there. So there we go. Just select this guy, do it, and there we go. We have our asset. Our HDR asset is set into the, and you can see that is working. We select one of this and then it works. This is great. Really, really, really simple. Now, I mean, if that's all you wanted from this, you can just take it from here and do anything you like, really. We're going to do a little bit more. For example, we're going to set this for the different types of lights. So, all right. So as I mentioned, for ENB light, I can actually select this redshift light, and you can see this is actually going to work because it's the same parameter name, but it doesn't work for Arnold light. If I try that, you can see it says that doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. Also the Arnold light, when you create the Arnold light, it doesn't have everything. It's not the same properties here. You can have create an Arnold dome light. If I go to Arnold and create a sky dome here, it's just setting these parameters to sky dome. But even if this is a sky dome, it's a solid color, so you need to change the texture, and the texture you need to change it to lat long, and then you can set this. So we're gonna also embed that into the script, so we don't have to be doing all that stuff manually. So you can see, let me just set these values to default, and we're gonna have maybe a light like this. If it has any of those properties set, we're gonna basically override them anyway. So again, I mentioned these two guys have the same parameter name, so I'm gonna just create a little variable, same renderers for similar renderers. Renderers equals it's gonna be NB like. I'm gonna put the name of the actual node here, and this is gonna be RS. I can just copy it here. I don't want to get this wrong. RS light dome 2, like that. So I'm gonna set the same thing for these two guys. So let's say if the cell node dot type dot name is in the same renderers that I created. So basically, if this name is any of these two, if the name is inside of one of these in this list, so we're gonna do something which is gonna be basically this line right now. So let's just put that line there. So we're gonna assign it to that like that. But for Arnold, as I mentioned, is different. So I'm gonna say L if, just copy this thing. If this is gonna be equal to Arnold light, was it? Yeah, Arnold light, like that. If this is the Arnold light, we're gonna also do this, but the name of the parameter is different. So let's go and see it in Arnold. But again, as I mentioned, there's a few things we're gonna do. So we're gonna change the light type, which is AR light type, to this one. And how do we change these values? I just changed it by number. You can change it by name. I just changed it by number or by index. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want 6 there. So I'm gonna do cell node that parameter. That parameter was called what? AR light type. AR light type. Set that to 6, I said. And just to prove that that works, I'm just gonna run it. You can see now I set that to sky dome. I'm gonna do the same for this one, which is gonna be AR light color type. Set it to 1. Do the same thing. This is gonna be 1 AR light color type, and then lastly I'm gonna set this to 0, 1, 2, and this is called AR format. Wow, that is a different name. AR I would expect light AR light format, right? They didn't name that, so it's gonna be 2. So now if I change this all to defaults, you can see if I reload that, select this guy, you can see now it has all the properties that I need. So if this is not in this, it's not in this mode or these settings, I'm gonna set it. Now I'm gonna set this, which is our AR light color texture. AR light color. Just do it here. Yeah, color texture. So there we go. Now that should set the path to that. And if we load that, click on this, you can see now it works. So great. That works for Arnold as well. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool there. Pretty good. All right. I think we're good on that front. So now let's just add the buttons here, and we can wrap it for today, because the buttons are going to add them programmatically. And there's several things we can do. If we go to the, let me grab a URL here. If we go to the website here, where are you, website? This on this one. Here, if we go to the website API, here in these categories, you can see I can get, from this path, I can get the categories, but these categories don't really match the categories on the website. I'm not sure exactly if they're getting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 categories from somewhere. But those categories inside are actually what you see this here, plus I think one of those, the outside one. So I'm not sure exactly if we want to add all these categories or just add the ones on the website. For now, I think I'm gonna just add these ones, but I'm gonna still show you how to add these categories if you wanted to have all those categories here exposed. Because I don't think I'm gonna add these layers of categories really, because I don't know if this is really useful. Because we're gonna add search on the asset here, so I'd rather do that than be clicking a lot like this. So I don't know, but for now I'm just gonna add these ones, but I'm still gonna show you how you can add this. If we later find where those categories are coming from and we can maybe make that menu do that programmatically, we will do it. But for now, let's just add this thing we have. So what I am going to, so we're gonna get that area here to add the buttons here. So I'm gonna add the buttons here on this widget here, which is this Q vertical box layout inside the scroll area. So if we add a bunch of them, we're gonna have a scroll area there. Or if this it's really small, we can still have a scroll area just like we have here on this area as well. So let's do that, because that is, I think, the best way to do it. I mean, we're preparing a little bit for the future there. Right. Okay. So let's do that over here about this. So we have this way of getting the URLs as well. I'm gonna copy this a little bit for the URL categories. So I'm gonna create these categories. Wait a minute. Sorry. Categories URL. So this is where that URL that I show you, where we can get those URL, use these categories from. And we're gonna basically do exactly this, but in one go. So I'm just gonna collapse that into one thing. So I'm gonna call this categories data equals JSON load a string basically. So this part I'm doing here, and I'm gonna call that now I'm gonna get this part embedded in this line. Basically, I'm gonna basically combine those two lines because I don't want to have two lines there. And the URL is the categories URL, and this thing needs to be we need to get the content of that, and that is good. So let's print this just to make sure. Categories data. Let's see if that is working. And we should have that working. There we go. So you can see now we have those, that exact thing we saw on the website. Now it's here on our, this thing is now part of Houdini here. We only want the keys of this, so that's going to be really simple to get. So here we're going to say for category in categories data, if we just print the key here, it's gonna, I mean the category, it's gonna give us that. So let's not print that anymore. If I do this, you can see I'm gonna get an index out of range because this is not selected. Select something, and actually we already have them here because we were not part inside of that, but we have all the categories here, all natural light. But I don't want that. We have all the categories here. If just we refresh, it's gonna give us the categories there. So it is working there. So that's pretty good. Now we can add a button just the same way we added buttons here. We can do the same thing here. Exact same thing. I'm gonna stop doing that so we can consider a cat button for category button, and let's just go quick widget. Widgets.q. In this case, it's gonna be a q push button, and the name is gonna be the category, and we're just gonna add it to self that categories. We haven't got that from the. We hadn't got this from the UI, so need to get that first here. Let's duplicate this line. It's gonna be categories context. UI. Whoa, I don't want to do that. Oh, come on. Wrong key. Categories context is called. So this is what we wanna add those buttons to. So that categories context that add widget. I need a dealer widget cat button. And why are we adding this as an instance here, or creating an actual variable for this? Is because later we're gonna add this some properties connected. By now I just want it to be there, so let's just click this, and there we go. Look at that. We have the categories. They do nothing at the moment, but they are there, and you can see they are on a scroll bar, on a scroll area there. Again, I don't want all this for now. I don't want all of them for now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get just the categories manually that we have there. We might need this later. That's why I'm letting that prepare. But for now, I'm just gonna type the categories on the website manually here, and we're gonna use that HDRI categories. I'm gonna add those buttons there, and there we go. You can see we have only the ones that are on the website. We could add the amount here of assets there. You can see there is an amount of there. I didn't add that on mine, but we can try adding those. So let's see, categories. We have. Actually, we can do it because I have this in a list. I could add it manually. I'm not gonna do that. So we can add that if we decide to use the data from the website and grab that value from there, and put it in the button as well. But for now, just gonna leave it like that. And I think that's gonna be it for today. Basically, that's what I wanted to have. And again, you can make these categories category bigger, smaller, collapse it if you don't want to see that. And that seems pretty cool, actually. So for later lessons, what I want to is maybe just add more, work more on the actual widget that we have here for each one of these. Maybe clicking on one of these doesn't trigger the download and assigning. Maybe we have some other extra buttons here, or when you click it, we have an extra detail panel here, just like the website, for selecting some other options. Like, that is not the website, right? Here, where's the website? Here. When you click on one of these guys, there's this panel on the right, sorry, and it has this information. Maybe we can have this information, and this little things can be here as well, and we can click them and see that. And I don't think we're gonna I don't know if we can include this 3D. That'll be fun to have as well. We can try to get as much as possible, but I don't know where this thing is embedded. We can try to find it, and then have a button instead of download, just apply or something, and it's gonna do the download and apply in. So we're gonna do that later, and I also want to add the download progress here, or maybe it's gonna be on here. Also, these categories and tags, I do want to add those. That's pretty cool. The information about the author and stuff, I'm not sure if we're gonna add those, but we can if we want to do that. But yeah, I guess later when we click on this, also there's no checking of this. This just means if we don't have a node selected, this is gonna fail right now. So let's just fix that, and we can end for today, because I don't want to leave that hanging there. So here where at the very end, where we are trying to get a selected node, let's just say here, if not cell node. So basically this is gonna fail. We're gonna display a message, who.ui.display message, and say please select light. Just select the light in this case, and then this is gonna just break. No, break is not gonna, it's gonna do anything here. Because this is still gonna execute if we don't do that. Or we can say if cell node is, if there is a node selected, do this stuff. Still, we're not checking if the type of node is light, but else for now we could just do this. And then I just lost my thing on the display message. Please learn how to type. Please select at light. Oh, this is just gonna be if you have selected, go ahead and try to assign it. If not, just say that you need to select the light. Let's try it and see if that works. If we have this and click it, it works. If we deselect it and click it, it doesn't work, because this is not, this is failing. So let's just say, just do this really simply, or just have this in a try accept, which is really just, let's actually, we should do this here like that. That is actually the better way to do this. Let's just forget about this. If there's a light, if you selected a light, we're good. If not, do the select light. But this is not right. But for now, let's just try to do that, and it's gonna be it's gonna fail, and says please select the light. But when I close it, it's gonna print some more things, because we didn't have a specific ending of this function here, but we're gonna do that later. You can set a specific variable if this is selected or not, but for now, should we leave it like this? I don't know. I don't want to leave it like this. Let's just say select. Actually, I think the way I had it was gonna be the way that we do it for now, like this. Except say pass. It's silly, but we're gonna use this for now. So we try to select this. This just means this doesn't fail. It continues, and then this is checked if this exists, if this has something, it does this. If not, just select the light. At least we're not gonna have any errors now. So if you select the light, assign it, it works. If I don't have it selected, yeah, you see it's not working because this thing is not assigned to anything. Cell node equals none. If cell node, let's try to do that. Let's see, it's working. If I do that, then it doesn't work. It says select the light, and if I click OK, there's no errors, nothing is happening. So that's good. So basically we just declare this variable to nothing. If we set it to something, it works and does all the thing that we wanted. If not, just say, hey, please select the light, and we can do that. So just basically, it's just could basically be part of polish and stuff, but for now we just have something that works. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Again, if you want the code for this episode, it's gonna be on my Patreon at Mix Training. So go there and get it, and you can have exactly what I just typed here live. Alright, have a good one. Hopefully you're enjoying this asset. I'm pretty happy with what we're doing. I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm looking forward to adding a lot more things. I have a ton of ideas. Alright, hopefully again you learned something, and I will see you in the next one.